We've got nostalgia overload on today's episode. I'm talking to Lance Bass. Britney is back on her singing game, thank God. Dolly Parton is responsible for your favorite 90s show. I'm breaking down the biggest songs on Twitter. And we get to know Nessa Barrett a little better. Hey y'all, it's Tetris. It's Tuesday, February 7th, and today's episode is all about millennial vibes. And I got one of my favorite pop star pals here to hang. Hey Lance, thanks for calling in today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Well, we got to talk about this podcast, Frosted Tips. Why'd you create it?
Yeah, I wanted to create a show that really celebrated the fandom out there. They've been very vocal our whole careers, even with our solo stuff. And now that they're having kids, they're teaching the young generation about all of us. So I wanted to create a show that, our age can listen to and go down memory lane and telling stories that we were never allowed to tell before because, we had to keep it very PG back in the day. And there was a lot of stuff going down behind the curtain.
Now, Lance, behind the curtain, what kind of secrets you guys spilling?
Well, there's definitely a lot of secrets being, told. It's a really great look at the music industry, especially in that era. How everything went down, what we all experienced. There's so many similarities. A lot of the issues that we were dealing with at the time were kept out of public view because we didn't want the fans to know. AJ McLean going, through his addiction and stories about me seeing that in person. And then one of the first memories of me seeing him completely messed up in a hotel and realizing oh my gosh, I think AJ has a problem and seeing how he became sober and how he relapses and comes back. So it's very personal, but very relatable for a lot of people listening.
That's so interesting to hear, man. There's no denying a lot of us idolize you guys, and you went through a lot of the same things we go through.
It's very interesting to see how this person can go through the same experience, but completely live a different life. It's very, I don't know, it's intriguing to me.
Well, we're definitely gonna dive into more of that nostalgia you were talking about if you don't mind sticking around a little longer.
Yeah.
From one of my favorite boys of the early aughts to one of my favorite girls. Britney Spears is back, baby.
It might seem like a crush, but it doesn't mean that I'm serious.
Britney hopped on IG to let y'all know the vocals are still vocaling.
To lose all my senses, that is just so typically me. Oh, baby, baby.
Singing her Hot 100 hit, Oops, I Did It Again, and I Am Dead. And I live. Hey, I contain multitudes. Britney captioned the post. Have you guys heard I'm a star now, mama? LOL, just kidding. Most of this sounds pretty flat, but I liked doing it again. And we love to hear. If you haven't experienced live vocal Britney, you're missing out. Remember her singing Bunny Raitt in Vegas? I wonder if this means Brit will be hitting the studio anytime soon. Hey, she said she liked doing it. A millennial can dream. Speaking of 90s faves, you were a cool kid in school if you were caught up on Buffy. And it turns out we've got the country legend to thank for it. When I think of our national treasure Dolly Parton, vampires are not the first thing to come to mind.
Little known fact, the legend Dolly Parton was a producer.
Who knew? Sarah Michelle Gellar stopped by The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon and confirmed a long-standing rumor that Dolly Parton was a producer on the 90s cult classic show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Sarah Michelle played the lead character Buffy and thought the legendary country star didn't know who she was until one day.
And she complimented the show and my performance, and I was like, oh, I can die now. Dolly Parton knows who I am and thinks I'm good.
Sarah, also said Dolly would send the cast Christmas gifts every year. I love learning these little facts. Makes my trivia game even stronger. Okay, I got Lance back, and us fans have so many memories that are special to us. What's one you can't believe became iconic?
Yeah, there's several stories that fans will bring up. I'm like, really? I don't even remember that. But one that always comes up is the French toast story. I don't know if you know the French toast thing.
No, you gotta tell me.
We were just on a radio show, I think in New York, and they had breakfast for us. We were, had to be there at 5 a.m. So we're eating French toast and all this. And I guess we had left, our food there. And so as a joke, the DJ was like, I have Justin Timberlake's French toast. And so he eBayed it for thousands of dollars. And this girl still has it frozen in her freezer. She paid $1,000 for it.
I definitely would have done that. I still have an NSYNC merch box. But what do you think of the new boy bands out there?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, BTS is killing it right now. It would be interesting to know what it's like to be in a band with so many members, because I mean, having 5 members is like herding cats. I mean, it was just impossible to get us anywhere on time, and everyone has their own personality. So I would think with like 7 guys, it would be a lot.
I mean, you guys had a lot going on too. Like, what was your favorite tour?
I mean, No Strings Attached was definitely my favorite. It was something special about that show. I liked it as arena. I think the Pop Odyssey Stadium tour was too big. You lost that intimate feeling.
See, I'd argue with you on that. Pop Odyssey was my fave, and I feel like you recreated it at Coachella with Ari.
Yeah, it did remind me a lot of that. I know, that was so fun. I was so happy we were able to do that with Ari.
And you always get asked, but reunion.
Never say never. I mean, who knew we were going to be doing Coachella a few years ago? I think it just has to be the right time. We all have to be inspired in the moment. But I do think, look, I think the world needs something again from NSYNC. I always feel bad that there was no ending because we didn't have a final show. We didn't have a final tour because we didn't know it was the final days. I think we owe it to the fans to give them something at some point. I just hope it's before I'm 80 years old.
Well, me and my friends have decided there's no cap on how much we'd pay for tickets, so just pack out SoFi Stadium and let's do it.
Well, it would be fun. I think the last time we were on tour, the biggest price was $80 tickets. So yeah, times have definitely changed.
All right, man. Well, thanks for chatting, Lance. Always fun, and congrats on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Good to see you, Tetris.
Now let's bring it back to the present and check out who y'all are talking about on Twitter. Tomorrow by Together and Morgan Wallen occupy the top 5 of Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart. Let's get into it.
Can't you see what you do, girl? You run damn near everything I love.
The results are in for Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart powered by Twitter. For the list dated February 11th, Tomorrow by Together holds spots number 1, 3, and 5, while Morgan Wallen grabs spots 2 and 4. All 5 tracks for Tomorrow by Together's new EP, The Name Chapter Temptation, landed on the chart with Tinnitus, Wanna Be a Rock, taking the number 1 spot. Followed by Devil by the Window at number 3.
I'm at the devil by the window, treading my light.
And Happy Fools at number 5. Filling in the top 5 is Morgan Wallen's Everything I Love at number 2.
Can't you see what you're doing, girl? You know damn near everything I love.
And Last Night grabbing number 4.
No way was I last night.
Both cuts are off Morgan Wallen's highly anticipated 36-track album, One Thing at a Time, due out March 3rd. Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart powered by Twitter tracks global music-related trends and conversations in real time across Twitter, viewable over the last 24 hours or past 7 days. Nessa Barrett is huge on TikTok. If you don't know everything about her, don't worry. Rania Anifto sat down with her to ask her some hard-hitting rapid-fire questions.
Round 1, are you ready? Mm-hmm. You would be surprised that I'm a big fan of...
Is ASMR like...
Oh, I love that though. No, that's
no,
funny.
like ASMR, yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's honestly like my guilty pleasure, and I feel like almost embarrassed to talk about it, but I feel like when I do bring it up, people are like, oh my God, yeah, me too. So I'm like,
I like a lot. Are you soothed?
You probably never guessed, but I would love to work with.
There's an artist called Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
And I love, his
so
music.
Cool.
I just love when music makes you feel something, and he does, so I feel like being able to work with him would be insane.
What's your favorite late night snack?
This is so embarrassing. My favorite late night snack currently are the little Danimals. It's just a little yogurt smoothie thing.
Oh, yes.
Those.
I used to eat those when I was younger.
Yeah,
yes.
I know, it's very nostalgic.
My favorite tattoo is?
Probably would be Cooper right here.
Right,
yeah.
That makes sense. Honoring your friend. Did you get that after?
Oh yeah, he would have loved if I got it
while you guys were together. He would have never let you hear the end of it.
It was I've gotten like multiple for him. I think I got like 6,
Right.
like a week after. This one is very special to me. I feel like he really comes out to me and through me the most when I do music, and I just think about, you know, when I'm performing and I'm holding the mic, it's this hand, so.
Oh, I love that. That's so special. I love that. Social media trend that I can't stand.
The one thing about me, and then,
then
them
the whole
telling a
story.
Oh, one thing.
I think that they're, you know, just gonna cover the song, but no, they just do a whole plot twist, and they just like kind of like fully trauma dump on you, and I'm
Right.
like, whoa.
When I was 19, I moved into my first home, but my address leaked.
Honestly, I might just have to go and do it just for like fun of it.
For the full rapid fire game with Nessa, check out our YouTube page. There you go, that's today's show. Come back tomorrow where we will reveal Billboard's top 10 rappers of all time. You're not gonna wanna miss that. This is Billboard News.